So, Professor Kawai, let me respond to your task of trying to summarize these different stories in 3 minutes. I've covered a lot of areas, but I'll summarize by encouraging you to take away 3 ideas about leadership that I hope that you will consider, and then 5 specific skills that I encourage you to develop to become more effective leaders. The 3 areas that I would just encourage you to consider, the first of those is be open and have a predisposition to taking risks. In my life, this has been my greatest gift. I'm an optimist, so I tend to take risks. I tend to try new things and to travel and to take opportunities. But I learned that my personal growth and developing leadership skills requires this predisposition to risk. So I encourage you to be courageous in your own lives, and when opportunities come along or are made available to you, to take them. Second, look out for opportunities that I described as innovation from the fringe. I don't think big ideas come from the center that often. I found in my own life that my growth and my success as a leader developed more rapidly when I put myself in situations that were outside of the spotlight, outside of the expected and traditional path. And I think if you look at the biographies of great leaders, you'll find that that is often the case. And third, I don't mean to diminish the importance of traditional management roles. If you have the opportunity to become a manager along the way, don't think that that's the end, but don't dismiss the role. I don't think you can learn to become a great leader without having managed complex, established organizations. If you have the opportunity to learn and to develop as a manager in a company, in an academic institution, at a research lab, at a nonprofit, at a government organization, take it. And finally, I talked about 5 skills or practices that I encourage you to try to learn or develop as leaders in the decades ahead. Think about and be able to articulate and describe a long-term vision. Seek to understand, to have a compelling long-term vision for your organization. Be able to articulate what it stands for, what it wants to achieve, what's its purpose. It's astonishing, but most people cannot do this. Describing vision is a skill. It takes practice. So I encourage you to start practicing. Start practicing by describing your own personal vision. Is it inspiring? Will people follow you? Second, work to make other people successful. Do this very personally and learn to do it one-on-one as a mentor so that people sincerely follow you and stick with you for years to come. This is very different than managing. This is a skill you can start developing tomorrow in whatever you do. So practice making not only yourself, but those people around you successful. Third, become an entrepreneur in whatever you do. Entrepreneurs always network, they always share ideas in and outside their organizations. They try new ways of working, they try new skills. They're just scrambling to get things done. But for many people, being an entrepreneur is scary. It's too risky, too uncertain. But I encourage you to start now at simply getting better at networking, at sharing ideas, at trying new ways of working smarter. Become an entrepreneur in what you do. Fourth, be resilient. As I talked about, expect to be knocked down and to have to constantly get back up with a positive attitude and just keep going. It happens. It happens all the time. It takes practice to do something very hard where you have to experience those setbacks. Somehow it seems common in the world of athletics or politics, but in many other areas, leaders are hesitant. And I think you shouldn't be afraid of failures or setbacks. Rather, you should see them as opportunities to practice becoming resilient, because you will need to be resilient the more you achieve as a leader. And last, finally, culture. When faced with making big changes, think culture first. Strategy is important, but culture eats strategy for breakfast. Start now to be aware of the culture of your school, your organization, or the company you're in. How might that culture evolve to be more inspiring, to feel new and everlasting versus something inherited from the past and out of date? How would you wish the leaders in that organization to be inspiring, to achieve that kind of future culture? What would you ask them to focus on? What would you focus on? To lead changes in culture, you first must be good at understanding culture. And then you can learn how to influence and change that culture. Thank you very much for listening. And Eriko, back over to you. I would be pleased to answer any questions you have.